Okay guys, so this is my first video. I'm probably going to create a channel on YouTube and post it and make millions. So first video, don't judge. So I'm gonna show you how to, as promised, make the characters on D&D. So basically you are going to have to go to the dndbeyond.com website. Please feel free to zoom in if you cannot see what's going on. Okay, so I've already created an account. It's already logged in. You guys will have to create a free account if you want to use the system and you want to help you to make a character. Create an account. It's completely free, and then you're going to go to the side here once you're logged in, and you're going to go to characters. Okay, and then you're going to create the character. Okay, and then you've got three options over here. You can randomize a character. Here's quick build, create the first level character. Basically, I think it's just basic options. And then what I prefer is the standard option. This will show you step by step how to create your character. So okay, you can start on top. You can put the character's name in if you want to. Then just a few options over here that I'm gonna walk you through quickly that you have to select or deselect. So homebrew content off, critical role content off, playtest content off, Eberron content off. Basically these are all extra rules that some people play with. We playing with basically just the basic rules. The advancement type, this basically determines how you go up levels. You can leave that on milestone. Encumbrance type, this has got to do with you picking up carrying objects and weight and slowing you down and so on. You can just say no encumbrance. And then we can ignore coin weight, so you can leave that selected. Hit point type, you can leave that on fixed. Ability score modifier, you can leave as is, and character privacy, I suppose you can leave as is. Then you're going to click these little arrows over here. You can see there's a back arrow previous and there's a forward arrow next, so we're going to be using those a lot, so you can just click on next. Okay, and then you'll see here on top there is a whole bunch of tabs, pages that's going to walk you through creating your character. Now very importantly, by race, you're going to change this all sources, change that to player's handbook. Again, that's we're playing with only the player's handbook, only with these set of races. We don't want to complicate things with flying races and so on. Races that can fly. We're not going to complicate with that, so we're going to leave it with the basic races. You'll see like humans, half orcs, half elves, dwarves, etc. So that is your race. Now you can, according to the website's layout, you can choose your race first. I personally prefer to choose the class first and see what are your main stats, and then based on your main stats you come back to doing the race and choose the race which is going to give you those stats. So for example, the half orc is obviously more physical, so they're going to get a boost to the strength and the constitution. The half elves and the normal elves, they are more nimble and they have different abilities. Dwarves are more resilient and therefore have boosts to the constitution. So I would first choose what class you're going to be before choosing the race. But if you want to mix it up a little bit, you can do it the other way around. So if you want to make a completely different kind of character, something out of the ordinary, for example a little halfling barbarian, so this short little barbarian thing, you can if you want to make it interesting. But my recommendation is start with a class. So we're going to jump here to class. Okay, so over here you can see here's all the basic classes from the player's handbook. Okay, you can decide what you want to be. Okay, now we've got experience with the barbarian, the cleric, the rogue, and the sorcerer. That's what you guys played with last time. You can, if you want, to read through the others and just see what it's about, and then decide if you want to create a different kind of character, a different class. So for example, if you're going to click on the barbarian over here, Over here you'll see it's going to give you a summary of all the abilities that the Barbarian has. So for example, he gets hit dice of 12. So basically you roll a 1d12 to determine your HP, your hit points. His primary ability is strength, and his secondary you'll see is constitution. There it shows he basically gets 12 hit points every level. This says what armor he's proficient with. He can basically wear light and medium armor, and he can use shields, he can use simple weapons, etc, etc. And he gets 2 skills that he's proficient at, like animal handling, athletics, intimidation. You can choose 2 of them, 2 from this list. Basically, as you go down, it shows all his abilities as you level him up. So for example, at first level he gets the rage ability, and if you click the show more button over here, it basically gives you the full breakdown of what rage is and how exactly it works. Also at first level you get the unarmored defense ability, and as you go up level 2, there's second level again further. This is third level. You can read through this and decide, if it's something interesting that you want to play as. And if you've decided, you can click add class, and then obviously you can go through all of these other classes. You can just read a little description. This one, for example, instead of 12 hit points, this one gets only 10 hit points. The ranger, he's got proficiencies also light and medium armor and shields. He gets 3 skills that he's proficient at out of this list. And then as you read on first level, he gets his favorite enemy. He can explore, natural explorer, fighting style at level 2, etc, etc. You have to read through all of these to decide which one interests you. Okay, so let's take, for example, in this one we are going to create a fighter. Okay, so fighter, again, he gets 10 hit points. His main abilities are strength or dexterity, and as you read further down, he gets proficiency with all armor and shields. He basically gets all weapons. He can choose 2 skills from the acrobatics, animal handling. He can choose 2 out of that list. He also gets a fighting style at first level, second wind, and then action surge at second level, etc, etc. So we're going to create this character. So let's go. I'm going to add a class. Right, so for you guys did level up at the end of that last session, so you're going to change that to level 2. Okay, and you'll see here it highlights these things you have to select. Okay, so for example, proficiencies. Right, so it said we can choose 2 skills from the following list. So I'm going to choose, for example, perception, and I'm going to choose, for example, acrobatics. Okay, so that's the 2. Then I can also choose a fighting style, and over here you can choose which fighting style. Quite sad they actually don't show you what the fighting styles do, so you actually don't know what's happening here. But okay, I know 2-weapon fighting, so I'm going to select 2-weapon fighting. Okay, there it pops up. So it shows you what 2-weapon fighting does. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Yeah, a lot of you guys are not going to understand what that means as we change it. So for example, defense, while you're wearing armor, you get an extra +1 to armor class. So okay, let's take defense. Okay, let's just go with that one. Second wind, you also get at first level, and action surge's ability you get at second level. So if you click on here, it actually tells you what action surge does. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize that again. So okay, so we've chosen our class. Now we still have to go back. We haven't chosen our race yet. So we know that with the fighter class, our primary abilities are strength. I mean, we read it now earlier. It is strength or dexterity, and constitution as a secondary. So I'm gonna try and find a race that is basically going to boost those abilities. So for example, I know the half orc. If you go click on half orc, there you can see So half orc basically gets a +2 bonus to strength, and he gets a +1 bonus to constitution. There's a couple of other nice abilities over here that you can also read through at the bottom. So for example, what is menacing, what is relentless endurance. Let's quickly see. He can basically dark vision. If you scroll down, you can see all these abilities. So dark vision, you can see in the dark. Menacing, basically you get proficiency in the intimidation skill. So that's cool. So I haven't chosen intimidation as a skill from the fighter, so that one this automatically gives me intimidation, relentless endurance, and savage attack. So this basically explains to you what the half orc race gives you to your character. So okay, we're going to choose this race. Alright, so now we basically have a race, so we have a class. Now we're going to go to abilities. Right, so very importantly, the generation method. This one I want you to select. You're going to go point by system. Okay, so this is just to make it standard for everybody. You start with 8 all around, and you now have 27 points to boost those abilities. So we know that the half orc is going to get a +2 to strength and a +1 to constitution. So I want to boost this as high as I can, because we're going to be strength based, physical close combat. I want to boost my strength. So let's go with, for now, let's go 14. All right, that's going to use 7 points. So you'll see the 27 drop to 20 there. That's 14. But then plus, you'll see at the bottom, strength over here. There's the full breakdown. So I selected 14 up here, but then because my race gives me a +2, so my total score comes to 16. So try and work on even numbers. Okay, it's definitely better to use even numbers, because your modifier, you'll see. Okay, let me just show you. The modifier here is +3. With a 16, it gives me a +3. So for example, if I drop this down to another 2, okay, so the 14 gives me a +2. But if I go in between, if I go to a 15, it still stays +2. So you want to try and save your points and use it wisely. That's 27 points. Try and stick to even numbers, because then it will affect your modifier bonus, and that's at the end of the day the most important thing, is your modifier. That's what you're going to add to attack. That's what you're going to add when I ask you to do skill checks. It's this modifier. So work on even numbers. So I know the orc is going to give me +2. So even if I boost this to 15 plus the 2 from the orc race, it's going to come to 17. But now I'm kind of just wasting extra points out of this, and it's not going to change my modifier. So like I said, leave it on even numbers. So I'm going to make it 1 less, leave it on 16, and now basically I'm saving a whole few extra points over there. Okay, alright, carrying on. So the next ability definitely wants some constitution. Now I know the orc is going to give me a +1 to my constitution modifier. So let's go with a uneven number here. So if I go 15 +1 from the orc, then that's going to be a total of 16 over there. And again, I get a +3 modifier. So that's going to give me a nice bonus to my hit points. I don't need, as a fighter, I don't need intelligence, I do not need wisdom, and I do not need charisma. This involves persuading people, animal handling, trying to convince animals to settle and to tame them. Wisdom is to trying to defend against spells. Intelligence is, yeah, basically being intelligent and knowing and skills like history or arcana and so on. Religion, I think, is one of the two. We don't, as a fighter, need these 3 abilities, so I'm going to leave these at 8 for now. But dexterity will help me to boost my armor. So let's go with a little bit of dexterity. So again, we're going to try and stick to even numbers. So 14 is fine. And then we don't get any race bonuses here, right? It was only strength and constitution that gives from the half orc. So dexterity is going to stay at 14. So that's fine. We've got 4 points left. So let's boost 2 of these. Let's go with let's go with some wisdom. Yeah, let's actually boost it all into wisdom. So this will help you to defend against certain spells. So let's make him a little bit more resilient to spells. And that's all 27 points done. And that is it. Okay, so you'll see there your total strength is 16, dexterity 14, constitution 16, 8, 12, and 8. So you look at the totals. These are all the things that get added to it, and then that gives you your total bonus over there. So yes, he is weak at the charisma and intelligence. Those are his weak points, but you can't make everything equal. It's just too difficult. And then we're going to carry on. Go next. So the next is your description. Okay, so we've got a name. Background basically is where so where your character came from. So was he a folk hero? People know him. He's popular in his from where he came, and that gives him certain skill benefits. The soldier, for example, also gives you certain benefits. So if we read here, I click soldier, and you'll see there it gives you skill proficiencies in athletics. It gives you also another that you can choose. What didn't I take? I want investigation. That's actually not a bad one to have. Actually survival. Let's go with some survival. Yeah, let's go with some survival. So we get athletics and we're going to get survival. It also says you get a proficiency with vehicles, and you also get a gaming set. So this is, I think, just for flavor, for the fun of it. It doesn't really add to the game. So let's just say a dice set, for example. That's his game. And there's some other abilities that you can click through and read through here if you're really interested, and it tells you what being a soldier is. If you click, let's just change. Let's go to Acolyte. Acolyte basically gives you skill proficiencies in insight and religion, and you can get 2 bonus languages. So there you can choose which languages extra you want to speak other than common and half orc, or orcish rather. You can choose 2 extra languages, and as you change your background, you can see here it explains to you what the background is. You have spent your life in the service of a temple, to the service of God, of pantheon of gods, etc, etc. You can choose one that actually suits your interest. I mean, as a rogue, you could maybe take a criminal or spy, because that would give you skills like deception and stealth, which is perfect for a rogue. Then, for example, if your background gives you deception and stealth, then what you do is you will just make sure when you choose your abilities, where is it where you choose your abilities? I actually can't remember now where it is that you choose your abilities. I think it was over here when you oh yeah, no wait, I'm going too far out now. I think it was when you chose your race. Then it asked you which proficiencies. Oh no, here we go. Here's the proficiency, sorry. So we chose, for example, perception and acrobatics. So when you choose a background, if you go back to description over here, right, just make sure that the skills that you get over here, deception and stealth, you haven't already chosen it here by class and proficiencies. Okay, because for example, let's see, okay, I don't have deception or stealth in this list, not as a fighter, but say I was a rogue, you would also get access to deception and stealth. Now you don't want to take deception and stealth here and then your background over here also gives you deception and stealth, because then you're just going to be losing out. So take something interesting over here, two skills over here that you're good at, and then make sure by your class you also choose 2 different skills, so you don't have an overlap and you're not losing out on skill bonuses. So anyway, just choose the gaming set again, because I now changed this. Okay, so he's now criminal spy fighter, and then we're going to move on to next step, and we're nearly done here. Okay, so very important, starting equipment. You're going to get to choose either equipment or gold. Now I don't want you to choose gold, because that gives you a random amount of gold and you have to buy your items. I don't want that. To simplify it, choose equipment. So you're going to go equipment, and then basically you're going to go through here. What do you want? You're going to get chainmail or leather armor, martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. So I know my dexterity is a little bit low, so I'm rather going to go with heavy armor, and as a fighter I can wear heavy armor, so I'm going to go with the chainmail. Nice heavy armor. Then I get to choose between a martial weapon plus a shield or 2 martial weapons, so I'm going to go with a martial weapon and a shield. And now we get to select which martial weapon. So I know I'm going to take a rapier. So that is going to be my one-handed rapier and the shield in my other hand. I mean, you can go and take a great sword or great axe, but I know this is 2 hands. This takes 2 hands, so there's no point in having a shield if this is going to take up both your hands. Or a long bow, then you obviously can't keep a shield. So I know I need to take a one-handed weapon, and just from a little bit of a reading through the handbook, the player's handbook, I know that the rapier is a one-handed weapon, scimitar is a one-handed weapon, short sword is a one-handed weapon, but the rapier is going to do the most damage, so we're going to take that one. And then you can also choose, do you want 2 hand axes or a light crossbow? I'm going to go with 2 hand axes. And then you get to choose one of these 2 packs, and they're pretty much similar. It tells you here what is inside it, but they're very, very similar to what's inside, and it's not really that important between the 2 packs. So let's just take that one. And then the criminal spy gives you those, and you get an extra 15 gold pieces. And now we're going to click add starting equipment. Okay, so now you've selected and you've added all your starting equipment. Now you actually need to equip that equipment. So if you go to inventory over here, you click the little plus sign, and now you need to actually equip your items. So chainmail, you'll see here's a little button over here that says wear. Okay, so if you click wear, right, so now you are wearing it. So your chainmail is on, that's a little armor that you're wearing. So don't worry about these ones where it says quantity 1. Those are all things that you're carrying in your backpack. That's not important. Hand axe, you can wield this as well. Hand axe, you're wielding it. The rapier, you're also going to wield that. Basically anything that it says here where you can wear it. The shield, put it on, wear it. Okay. And I think that is about it. So you're going to wear all that, and then you're going to go to, they ask you what's next, and then by what's next, this is basically the end of it. You've created a character. Obviously it took a lot longer because I had to walk through and explain everything to you, and it's going to take you a long time because you ideally want to read through each section, read about the races, read about the classes, play around with abilities and so on, and the equipment. You need to know what the equipment does, which weapons are best to use. Do you want to use longbows, ranged weapons, in which case you need more dexterity, or do you want to use more close range with swords and maces, in which case you need more strength? So you're going to have to read through these things a little bit, but once you're done, you go to what next, and then you can click over here. If you click view character sheet, it actually shows you, it's just busy loading. Yeah, so this is actually on the website. They allow you to play if you are connected online. All your stats are here, so instead of having to print out pages, everything is over here, just like those pages that I showed you guys. I mean, there's all your abilities, your strength with the +3 and the dexterity +2, constitution +3 modifier, etc, etc. There's your initiative, there's your walking speed, your armor class. So obviously the armor class was because you're wearing chainmail, plus you're wearing a shield, plus you took that fighting style as a fighter, you said +1 if you wear any armor, and then your hit points is 22 because of I suppose it generates that amount. And I know you roll a 10 for fighter, it's a 10-sided dice, and then you're obviously going to add your constitution, which is +3. So you basically have 22. The maximum could have been 26. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, on the website you can play off here if you're connected to the internet. What I want to do is, and it's probably easier to have it on black and white pen and paper. So I would then click on export character sheet, and let's just open it up and see what it looks like. So now it's going to look like those pages that I gave you guys. Everything completed and filled in already. So it's just busy loading. Just give it a minute. Where's all the information? That's weird. I mean, armor class. There we go. Okay, just taking a bit long to load. But yeah, these are all the pages, the sheets that I gave you guys. So he's a fighter level 2. There's his modifiers. There's his abilities. His skills. Here it tells you what actions you can do on your turn. Special abilities that you have, like for example second wind. Once per short rest you can use a bonus action to regain your hit points. Action surge, these are abilities as a fighter, and relentless endurance. This is from the half orc. Here's your weapons that you equipped. You equipped the hand axe. Remember, you clicked wield, or where you click those. So basically the hand axe is equipped, the rapier is equipped, and obviously you can just punch with your hand also if you want to. And then it shows you your damage that you're doing. There's all your abilities. It gives you a breakdown of all the abilities that you have available as a fighter. You'll see there as a fighter, there's all your abilities as a fighter, and then here's your abilities as a half orc. You can see in the dark, you can relentless endurance, menacing, etc. Here's your equipment that you have, and if you're a spellcaster, you would have more information filled in over here. Okay, so you can actually rather export your character, and then you can just print this out, and then you can bring that along. Okay, so I'm just going to close that. That is exporting your character sheet. And then if you go back to characters, you'll see the sort of saved now on your account. Like I said, create an account. My characters rather. This is the character that we just created. Second level half orc fighter. And you can play around with this. Create a couple of characters, different classes, whatever. See what interests you. If you want to stick with the same class, go ahead. Stick with the same race, go ahead. Just create it yourself and print it out yourself and bring it along next week. And that is it for my video. I think this is worth millions. Click like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.